Alright, people, so Jackrell over here, and today, right now, oh yeah, before we even begin, I'm just gonna ask, you guys good? I hope you guys are good. If you guys are good, I'm good. We all good. You get me? Anyway, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna talk about this little game called IXION, sort of like a non-committal review, non-structured review in a podcast format where I just go out on random tangents about the game. This is my style of reviews from now on. I did make a short review, and IXION, sort of like an enigma, isn't it? The game. It seems like everybody on YouTube loves it. But when I check on the reviews on Steam, on even like professional reviews, it seems like they're not feeling it. Like, I don't get it. It's sort of like a disconnect there, because me personally, I played the demo, I fell in love with it, definitely committed me to buying it. Just one moment, I probably need to lower down the pickup a little bit on the mic here. In true podcast fashion, you're gonna adjust your microphone. So yeah, I enjoyed it very much. The demo, and then I played the full game. Even though it's really hard and it doesn't have the most updated graphics, but I enjoyed it very much. And it kind of reminded me of, okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about all the classic games I used to play, and now IXION reminded me of those classic games. But first, I gotta give a background of myself. I hate survival games. I really hate survival games. I've played survival games, and by the way, most of the games that I play in my life, not in my life, in my modern life, 30 plus years old and above of living on Earth, is on my YouTube channel. So you will get a background of what types of games I play. And I realized that after reaching a certain age, when you're busy with work and you have a limited amount of time to play games, I realized that I play a lot of indie games. I don't know why, I just get interested in indie games. One of the games that got me back into gaming, because I stopped gaming for a long time, was PUBG. And PUBG is an indie game, by the way. It became a whole phenomenon, a big ass, game in the end. But it started as an indie game with like an outlandish concept. Okay? So yeah, that's a bit of a background. And then I started playing Cities Skylines, all kinds of other games. And it's all on my channel, by the way, even PUBG. I played Elite Dangerous, I like space games. I played Mass Effect, and yeah, pretty much Mass Effect is probably the only AAA game that I really got into, I think. So that's a little bit of a background about me. And back in the day, I used to play a lot of games, all kinds of games. I played Sam & Max adventure games. I played SimCity. I played The Sims even. I played Morrowind, games like that, RPG. Ultima, the original Ultima with Avatar, all those. I played a lot of games, everything, almost Dune 2. I was like a geek, an absolute geek. But then at one point I stopped and I started again, and like I said, it was PUBG and maybe Mass Effect that as a AAA game that I played, PUBG indie game. And then I went on a sort of like a run with a lot of indie games, especially I became obsessed with Cities Skylines, right? Okay. It's a bit of background about me. Now, IXION. But throughout all that, I hated survival games. Every time I started playing survival games, it just pissed me off. I wouldn't want to buy it, If I tried a demo or whatever, if I bought like a cheap survival game, it would just piss me off because I don't like managing things. So it's a bit of a surprise to me that I like IXION, because it is, at its core, a survival game. It's not really about design, not really about building a city. Even though it is kind of a city builder, not even really about space exploration, because it is linear, right? But yeah, it is a survival game, and I like it very much. And let's review it a little bit and go back to when I first saw a thing about it. So basically, I saw the trailer on Steam, and I thought, maybe on Twitter, and I was thinking, this kind of looks like Cities Skylines Mars. Cities Skylines Mars is like a series by Citywokcitywall. If you're not familiar with Cities Skylines Mars, go check it out. It's a game changer. It's phenomenal. It's like one of the best things to ever happen to the Cities Skylines. And if you're familiar with Cities Skylines, Cities Skylines is a legendary game already, and it's more about city building management, right? But people mod Cities Skylines up and do creative things with it, me included. I have my own little Katak Town series, right? But Cities Skylines Mars is it's a whole nother level of, you know, Cities Skylines modding, where Citywokcitywall kind of limits himself to a. I'm googling it. I'm YouTubing it right now, just as a refresher. So he kind of limits himself to a small area on Mars, like a dome, and he starts building vertically. So usually Cities Skylines is about expansion, but this, he limits himself. So he has to find creative ways of building this sort of like sci-fi city, right? A dystopian sci-fi city. It's beautiful, and it has like supply lines, stuff like that. It's really complicated, and it wrecks my brain how he's able to do all this. Okay, and that's what it reminded me of when I first saw the IXION trailer. And if I could, I mean, the editor is me, so please, Jakrel, can you please put on the screen the original IXION trailer, the first one a year ago, I think. So in the trailer, that's what it reminded me of. It's like, but this is on a space station, right? And it's a whole game. That's what I thought of it, what it looked like. So you kind of have, and now that I've played the full game, it kind of is like that a little bit, about 5%, where you have a limited area to build, right? So yeah, sure. That's the first thing that came to mind, because when people keep saying Frostpunk mix in space, Frostpunk in space, I couldn't relate because I've never played Frostpunk. I would never touch a survival game. I know PUBG is kind of a survival game, but it's a survival game which is not really a survival game, if you get me. It's not really a survival game. Survival is part of it. Maybe that's why IXION, I like IXION. It's kind of like PUBG, where survival is a part of it, but it has other elements that helps to sort of like, yeah. So yeah, I couldn't relate to Frostpunk in space. I've never played Frostpunk. I do not like winter or snow. So I would probably never play Frostpunk. Doesn't seem like the type of games that I play. But it seems like that's the only description that people can come up with. And you know why? IXION is, I think, a unique game. And, you know, I dare say that it might be a cult. Sort of like a cult. It might have a cult following. It might be like a cult classic that becomes a precursor to other types of game. Okay? Because when I play it, when I played the demo, the feeling that I get, the sensation that I get is, remember, if you guys have ever played Mass Effect. Okay, Mass Effect is mostly a third player, a shooter kind of game. There's an element of Mass Effect where you have a ship and you explore other planets, pretty much with the same map that IXION uses, right? And I enjoyed that part of the sensation of being in a ship, having crewmates, upgrading your ship, you know, making it better, making you able to jump a bit more, exploring planets. And Mass Effect had that. It actually didn't start with Mass Effect. It started with Knights of the Old Republic, an old game back in the day that was a classic. And yeah, that sensation of doing that, you know, having a ship, like that sensation, I like that sensation, you know, sleeping in a ship, interacting with people in a ship, using, you know, using equipment in a ship, finding out new things in the galaxy you're on, mining even. I mean, mining is a bit, you know, annoying, but you gotta do it. And that was the sensation that it gave me that got me attracted to IXION. And even though $50 in our money, okay, to you guys in the US it might be about 15, $10 maybe, right? 50 is a lot of money to us. But you know what, usually I don't spend that much on the game. But yeah, this is it. Like, I like this game, I'm gonna spend this much on this game, right? Yeah, it's still not, I mean, it's still cheap compared to like AAA games. So that sensation, including that first initial reaction to the first trailer, that it kind of looks like has a Cities Skylines Mars vibes to it. Not really, because Cities Skylines, the design in that game is wild, like it's crazy. But anyway, but it's a whole ass game with IXION. So those were my initial reactions, especially to the demo. And that sensation of exploring space. I like space exploration games. Mass Effect trilogy will forever be my favorite, and maybe Knights of the Old Republic. I'd even put that higher than Mass Effect actually. Yeah. Scratch that. Knights of the Old Republic. Best space exploration game. And I never played Freelancer, so I wouldn't know what that feels like. I have a copy of Star Citizen. I couldn't get into it. My laptop couldn't handle it. I'm playing games on a laptop, so it's not the beefiest computer alive on Earth. Yeah, so yeah, that's that. So the space exploration element in IXION, I like it. The survival element, maybe not so much. It's hard. And we're gonna go back to what I was saying in the beginning, right? And also in my short review, I did mention that when you're playing this game, you learn new things, you have to start a new game. Learn new things, it's hard. And you can see in the reviews, right? People sometimes just give up on it. And it kind of reminded me of those games that I used to play. Remember back in the day, like if you're an older man, you play games like SimCity, Sim Farm, Transport Tycoon, and those were the only games you had on your computer. You really can't afford to keep buying new games, right? Games were not as cheap as these days, and those games sometimes like Sim Farm came with a PC, so you would just play those games for years, decades even. Some people, right? Those games you would play and you would restart every game, and every single restart you'll be better. You'd have a better layout. You'd have just a better understanding of the game, knowing what will happen next. Of course, when you're a child, you have better memory. Now that you're older, you keep making the same mistakes over and over again. But when you were a child, you can micromanage way better. I was a micromanager when I was a child, when I was playing games on the PC. Yeah, that's what it reminded me. So that's why it did not faze me when things become really hard, especially that I have a slower brain now. I didn't get COVID, but I shouldn't get COVID because long COVID makes your brain slow, and my brain is already slow. I don't want it to be slower, so that's why I stay at home as much as I can. Anyway, off topic. This is a podcast style review, so I can do what I want. Yeah, so that's the also another sensation that it gives me. Kind of recalls back to the day when I used to play those kind of games. It's a bit hard, but it's fun to restart and have a better understanding, better layout, and then you mess one thing up, the whole thing go tits up. You start again. It's not the way games are supposed to be these days, but there are games that are like that, that has that old school sensibilities that kind of a lot of people like, even like younger people, right? Yeah, so maybe we should talk about this, the kind of disconnect between reviews, and most of the reviews I've seen on Steam definitely mostly bad. And people have talked about this on YouTube, right? Like they're saying maybe you don't know how to play the game. I don't know. But what's strange is even a lot of reviews on like big magazines, on not big magazine, bigger magazines, like official professional reviewers, they seem to not like the game. It has a lot of flaws, but I think they probably can't see the potential of this whole unique concept. Like, you are managing a big space station, which by the way reminds me of that. All right, I'm gonna Google this. Mormon ship. If you guys are big fans of sci-fi, the Nauvoo. The Nauvoo is a ship by the Mormons in the Expanse, and if you guys are older person, you probably have better references. The Nauvoo is a big ass spaceship in the Expanse. So I watched the Expanse. I would put it as number one, the best sci-fi thing on TV. And imagine you are managing this big ass spaceship with a city, with a colony inside it, exploring space. Wow. Yeah, imagine in the future you'd have a game that's kind of like Star Citizen. I mean, Star Citizen has the potential to be this. Like, you're managing a big ass space station in Star Citizen, exploring space. The whole concept is mind-blowing. I think it's not unique in the sense of a concept, but in the sense of a PC game, I can't think of anything like it. So I think the game should get brownie points just for that. I mean, I'm not trying to tell people how to review things. People have opinions, but I think reviewers, that's their job, right? They probably have to play 5 games a day, and there's no way that IXION is a 5 games a day kind of thing. IXION is like a month of just playing it kind of game. You can't just, yeah, it's like, you know, it's a part-time job. Kind of like Cities Skylines modded. It's not relaxing, but it's also relaxing. It's a lot of work, but it can be relaxing, you know. It can be therapeutic. You can say that. So yeah, so you can't blame them. That's just the industry. That's just the way it is. Yeah. Okay, what else am I about to say about this? I made some notes actually. I haven't referred to it yet. But it's a contender for Game of the Year. The best game that everyone hates. Pretty much. What else should I talk about it? Let's talk about the game itself, right? Yeah, I mean, overall, it might not be the complete package. It might not be perfect. But like I said, I think it will be a cult classic that will predate many more games influenced by it, that will take this genre, whatever it is, space exploration, survival, colony builder genre, to a whole new level in the future. Okay? The same way that Freelancer and Knights of the Old Republic may have been, especially the Freelancer, may have been not incomplete games, not perfect, not the best graphics, but I guess it was ahead of its time. Okay? Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the game itself. I hope I can cover as much as I can in this slower podcast kind of format, right? Music is 11 out of 11. Like, I give it an 11. The main theme just sets you. This is a game doesn't have, like, you know, GeForce RTX, DLSS, NVSS, whatever kind of graphics, ray tracing. So the music has ray tracing, in my opinion. The music has ray tracing because it just sets you in the mood and you feel the epicness of what you're about to do. And the cutscenes are epic, so complements the music. Yeah. And sometimes I feel like the music is trolling me, because sometimes I'm in a state of panic. There's accidents over here. I need alloy to repair the hull. And one of my ships just got busted by a storm. And I'm in a state of panic, trying to micromanage everything. Everyone's asking me for something. And the music keeps up with that. It gives me like a really suspenseful music. And it kind of pisses me off a little bit. But I think that's brilliant. And okay, I'm only in chapter 3, so I feel like I could speak about this game because a lot of reviewers they got to chapter 2 and they start doing reviews, because I think by the time you get to chapter 2 you start feeling the game and enjoying it, so you do a review, right? So I just got to chapter 3, and the moment you got to chapter 3, there's like this moody, almost apocalyptic droning music that just wow. Because okay, I can't spoil anything, but yeah, it fits whatever's happening on screen. Okay, and apart from the gameplay, it has cutscenes. I like the cutscenes, especially anything involving the IXION itself. Oh, sorry, the Tiqqun, which is the space station, the Nauvoo, if you will. Anything involving the Tiqqun looks really good in cutscenes. And it has like art by artists. Shout out to all the artists. I think I downloaded an art workbook so I can use it in thumbnails. I should start crediting the artists. Yeah, they do art for the game, right? And it does a really good. It doesn't do too much and not too. It does enough to portray what's happening. Yeah, without doing too much. You know, like you're in a space station. You have to cut through diamonds. You have a really nice piece of art to sort of like summarize the whole situation. Yeah, that's really good. Cutscenes, gorgeous. And the sensation of being a massive space station. You know, imagine if you had mods like Cities Skylines mods where you can first person. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Maybe in the future you'll have a game as complete as that. Because even Cities Skylines is still stuck in 2015. What else should I speak about it? The gameplay. The menu I think looks good. The menu looks good. Because you have like a really symmetrical menu that looks a really good design, and there's a lot of detail in this game. You know, a lot of things that you have to manage. So it does a good job. Sometimes certain things might piss me off. If you watch my Let's Play series, I get pissed off by small things. Like for example, if you want to check the tier for your sector, you have a sector, you specialize in farming, right? You want to check what level of farming is it at. You have to click on a building, a DLS building. You know, when things take 2 or 3 more steps and you have to Google it, it kind of just pisses me off. But it shouldn't actually, because I remember when I was a kid, I used to play games where you have to take notes. Yeah, and this game, I think it might be actually a very extremely intuitive game, because all I needed is the calculator, because I can't calculate numbers in my head when I'm dealing with numbers. You have to deal a lot with numbers here, right? When you're building homes and stuff like that. So all I needed was a calculator. I didn't really need notes. I could remember most of the concepts in this game, and it does have a tutorial. Sort of like, I wish the tutorial was even more heavy, like more information, but you could probably Google some of this stuff. Another thing was when it says on the planet where you have to research so and so to explore this planet. Sometimes the research that you have to do is is a subset of another research. So if you open your tech lab, you won't see the research and it doesn't specify that it's a subset of a main research item. So you have to do a lot of work on your own if you're not sharp. Like I'm not very sharp, I'm very blunt. It might take some thinking, and you might come out of it feeling like an idiot and start giving bad reviews on Steam. Yes, I'm one of those. Like not the reviewing on Steam. Like I'm one of those who keep making mistakes, and I realize how stupid the mistake is. Like it's right there. I should have looked. I'm not good at looking for stuff, okay? Really bad. It's right there in front of my face. I can't see it. So small things. But like I said, when you were young and you played all those games, you used to take notes. You have like a whole book of notes. So this game might just be extremely intuitive. I just need a calculator and maybe Google next to you. Yeah, I didn't even need a walkthrough, because it's kind of fun to just go through everything by yourself. Go do it again. It's not fun for the Let's Play videos because you're gonna look like an idiot, and you're gonna have to keep restarting the game offline and tell your viewers, by the way, I had to restart the game all over again. So yeah, but you know, despite all the flaws, all the struggle, you kind of come out playing it feeling entertained. I'm feeling like every time I can't even focus on watching a movie because I'm thinking about IXION. I turn on YouTube. Usually I would turn on YouTube, I would watch a music video or like a podcast, or no, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going on YouTube and I'm like searching for IXION reviews. I'm just wondering, yeah, I'm wondering what people are thinking about it. There's a few channels here that you need to check out. Oh damn, Obsidian Ant just came out with an IXION video. I need to check that out. There's one, okay, you need to check out Caledorn. He plays it, and while he's playing it, he's dishing out these tips and tricks videos, right? Things I wish I had learned, more things. And before you play, I would advise to watch his videos, because there's a lot of small things that you can do to improve your gameplay, right? So because he's meticulous about this, and he also has viewers that will give him their tips and tricks about the game, and it has helped me a lot. For example, there's one tip where you can research in the tech lab to get more science points for every cycle, right? I did not know that existed because I did not look through the whole tech lab thing. But that helps a lot, because when you're not collecting science points from planets, you're not getting science points. You're getting 1 per 15 cycle, which is whoa. You can't wait. That helps a lot. So you can even so because of that, you can start researching small stuff, right? That'll overall help your gameplay and your survival. Caledorn, Caledorn. What else should I talk about the gameplay? Right? It's linear, by the way. it's not a sandbox. It's linear, but there's another sensation. You know, when I play games, it's all about sensation. I like sandbox games. I used to play Might and Magic, which was an open world game with like 8-bit graphics, no limits. Used to play Morrowind, which was a momentous at a time when people did not like open world games. Linear games also gives you an old school feeling, right? Because open world, when I was playing open world games, there's maybe like 1 or 2 open world games out, but we're in 2022. I'm talking about the 90s. That was back in the 90s, right? When there's not many open world games. We're in 2022, where if you don't have friends, you might as well not be a gamer, because everybody's playing MMORPGs, battle royales, right? Open world gaming. Open world has, like I said about this game right now, it might not be popular, but it might, create something new for the future generation. The same way all those open world games were not popular back in the day. Not in my country, at least. Maybe in the US it's popular. All the gamers were playing linear games. Open world games were not very popular because people were saying, "Oh, what the fuck am I supposed to do here?" But now, in hindsight, it has created a monster, right? Every it's like, if you want to sell a game, just put open world next to it, or sandbox. So it's the sandbox era, right? I mean, maybe it's gone, but I don't know. But yeah, it's that first single player feeling. You don't need the internet to play this game. I don't think they need to connect. I played one time without the internet, and you're just stuck in your own world, in your own mind. And because it has a simple graphics, a lot of things go on in your mind. Because I still play Football Manager, by the way. It's the one game where, every year I keep up. Football Manager is one of the most graphically challenged games in the world. A lot of the world building in Football Manager goes in your brain, and I guess it's the same for IXION, right? So yeah, you're stuck in your mind playing a single player game, no connection to the outside world, just this world. So it kind of limits you into this world, and that world expands your brain, and you're in this world. So that's kind of an immersion, right? And speaking of immersion, I criticized this game because early on, when it was chaos, especially chapter 2, it's probably going to be chaotic in chapter 3 as well. But there are pockets of chill vibes in this game where you get to just chill and mine for resources. That's when you start to, recall all the storyline, and that's when the immersion starts to kick in for me. So yeah, when it's chaotic, you're focused on management in this game, but you get some relaxed time, me time, and yeah, the immersion starts to hit. And yeah, you start to get into the story, and it's not the most complicated or the most, it's not a Knights of the Old Republic kind of story, but yeah, I kind of like the story. It does have a surgical kind of The Expanse feel to it, the story, right? Yeah, nothing too complicated, but it's still interesting, right? Because if you like space, sci-fi, yeah, it's very sci-fi. And yeah, I wonder if there's anything else I can say about this game. I think I've said enough. It's a gem. And it's a gem. I hope whatever I say comes true. Whatever I predict comes true, because I am a big fan of space exploration games. I did try games like Elite Dangerous, Star Citizen, and I can't wait for Starfield. And IXION kind of adds to the catalog and into a different direction, and a very, I would say, even ambitious direction. Okay, in terms of, if some AAA studio takes this concept to a whole new level, they could make a classic, assuming they do it properly, right? Or maybe an indie game. Even IXION themselves could make an IXION 2. It's a gem. It's a gem, and in the sci-fi community, and overall, I think people on YouTube kind of like it. Even let me Google IXION review. Oh wait a minute, I gotta answer okay, so one of the reviewers that I haven't checked out, this Obsidian Ant. He's one of my favorite sci-fi commentators. What is it? I think worth a buy. Oh yeah, worth a buy is one of those reviews I like to check, because he reviews a lot of indie titles worth a buy. Even he likes it. Like he's not easily impressed. He didn't. I remember him not liking Mass Effect, which was like, that's one of my favorite games, right? But you know, to each his her they damn own. He likes it, even though he finds certain stuff annoying, and I agree with him. Like for example, when your staff wants to move on, they want to get out of the system. Like it doesn't make sense, because right now we should be, do you want to get out of system without proper resources? Just go. So they become unhappy because they can't move on to the next system, where certain things don't really make sense. But yeah, I mean, the game, I'm not saying the game is perfect, but it's perfect to me. And when I play it, when I watch a movie, I enjoy it. The movie's perfect. That's it. It's as simple as that. I don't care what the critics say. I don't care what other people say. I don't care that you can see a tripod in the movie. A tripod. I don't care if the movie makes a mistake where you can see the cameraman in one of the scenes. I do not care. If I enjoy it, it's perfect, right? That's how it is. So yeah, I don't think I have much else to say about the game. If I do, I might make a second podcast, but I don't think I will do, because you don't want to be too obsessed with this game. You might become an IXION head, or like a DOLOS head. But yeah, this game it didn't even surprise me, because I played the demo, I enjoyed it, played the game, and I've been playing it ever since. Like almost every day I would spend, like I have work to do, so I would spend maybe an hour or two just playing the game, and then I'll do my work, right? So yeah, and I don't do that with any game, like except maybe Football Manager, right? Because Cities Skylines, Katak Town is a lot of work to me. If I were to do Katak Town, it has to be a full-time job. I would have to have a long stretch of like holiday, you know, to do Katak Town. And yeah, IXION, I'm able to just play for an hour or two, do a let's play video, upload it, and yeah, and then do my other stuff, right? My work stuff, do sleep, you know, I gotta sleep. So yeah, it's a cult classic, it's a gem, it's a sci-fi gem, and I can't wait to play more IXION. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you like this sort of like podcasty format of a review, where I can just go in random, you know, direction, where I can just relax and speak, you know, without, I'm just too lazy to have structure. I'm just too lazy to have structure. Yeah, as always, I hope you guys are good. You guys are good. I'm good. We're all good. Thanks for watching. Peace.